Hello, everyone. Welcome to the start of our fall coverage. Summer is gone, and as much as that's to my chagrin, I can't stop the seasons from happening, so we haven't quite invented that technology yet. So we're going to keep going here as we continue on with this year of Rainbow Six for the Unified Premier League. My name is Sticula. I'm here with Chief, and unfortunately, I couldn't think up any better award to give him than an Emmy for being the best Harry Potter impersonator on broadcast.
I'm just going to draw the lightning bolt right now, and we'll go with that. Reese, it's nice to have you. We missed each other during summer. You were casting, you were cheating on me with Tristan Corbeck the entire time on the Wednesday slot, and Light Rose and I were having fun on Monday, but I think we've moved things around, and we've been reunited once again, or maybe you're more stuck with me once again. I don't know how you want to look at it that way, but happy October. We're back, Unified Premiere, and honestly, it's nice to see the blue background again.
Yeah, of course, we've got to celebrate the nice update that we've had to the broadcast package. We have an interesting game tonight, a couple of newcomers into the Unified Premier League. Notably, though, we have Relajado bringing back his gang of players who you might have seen perform at the AGN Carry LAN. I heard, though, that they've made a roster change in the meanwhile. I think they placed like 5th, which is, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not exactly first. You're not Revenge Nation, but that LAN experience is always fun, and maybe we'll see more from them soon. And my expectations, probably a little higher for them in particular.
Well, they have experience, Relajado in particular being a legacy comp player at this point, have been an amateur for at least over a year, probably closer to
Yeah.
2 at this point. So there's going to be experience, but on the side of Ara, I mean, I don't really recognize any of these names. They're probably, players who are just trying to get their feet wet for the first time in comp, or if they've been playing in comp, maybe this is their promotion into the higher levels of amateur play.
So I talked with one of their players, the one who I did recognize. I've seen him on Twitter. He has a YouTube channel. He has
Oh, Twitter
uploaded.
Goblin? Uh-oh.
Well, not necessarily.
We've had Crafty in this league. We don't need any more Twitter Goblins.
Where is Crafty? Is he around?
He
Didn't he make a team? I think he made a team.
Streams.
With
He's
someone?
making a team with 2 people, I think. Salt and somebody else. It's going to be Pride all over again.
All right. Well, the one thing that I was going to say is Neurox has been working with this sort of band of brothers that he's gotten together. They had played together for 6 months, which is surprising.
Oh,
for
wow.
a team to be together for that long, and us do not have heard of them. From what I'm being told, they played in the previous Challenger League quals. That was with Neurox, Alzomo, and Techneth. But now they have got Bacon and Vexy. So it's hard to place this team. I'm just going to sort of watch them, see how they play. From what I get, they aren't like a crazy ranked stack. They aren't, going to be too monkey, which is... it's the map is Oregon. We can go to the veto now, but I'm just going to spoil you there. So it could be, you gotta weigh the pros and cons. You're not going to get a very exciting Oregon. You're not going to have, any kind of run outs or crazy plays. At least that's my expectation. And we could get that more very slow Oregon. I mean, is that at all worth talking about even?
Oregon. We're going to see the entire map ban, but it doesn't matter. Why? Bank and Chalet, your first 2 bans? Come on. That's so boring. Look at this, Reese. It's Bank, Chalet, Coast, and then Villa Cafe Club in Oregon as the actual map. These are the most mundane, boring map ban phase I have ever had the displeasure of turning my brain cells towards. Come on. I get Bank is a new map. Trust me, it is a good comp map. Just apply yourself, scrim it, dry run it, pay homage to the original Bank, and actually, pull those old strats back, because it is a viable map. I just want more teams to take the risk and actually play it, because we have seen it in other amateur leagues, Solar Flare in particular, and the teams that play Bank, they seem to be well versed on it. So maybe it's just a map for postseason. Now, we can't even be talking about postseason yet, Reese, because we're in week 1 of 7.
Right, yeah, no, this is literally the first day, so the playoffs and the postseason are a bit down the line. I am quickly browsing to Liquipedia, because if you didn't know, we've got the page for last season up there now. I'm going to check on the map veto. I don't think we really got a lot of the maps that we typically say are reserved for the postseason. We did have Consulate get played in the best of 5 grand final. I do remember that one. It was actually the last map where Mystic eventually took the series, but we didn't see a crazy amount of Chalet, and that's kind of just the situation that we have here in Amateur, Chief.
I mean, yeah, rosters need to experiment, because if you're going to the same 4 maps over and over again, at a certain point, the opposing team is just going to hop on the broadcast, VOD review you, and then smack you, counter-striking you the entire time. That's a talking point that we bring up all the time, but it's something that is very true. It actually might be a little different this season, because here at UPL, we're not broadcasting every single series because of, we'll call it, disband and re-stream gate.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a change to the format, as Chief alludes to, so it's just going to be one game a night, so it'll be a little bit easier to actually consume the content. You're not going to have to sit through, every single game as possible, and so what that means essentially is we'll be a little bit more selective. We'll try to get you the best games that we can and weed out some of the other matches, and hopefully we can at least guarantee that we've got a broadcast running each night, and we don't have any kind of more forfeit situation like was kind of plaguing us last season. Already talked through one of these rosters. We'll go over now to Relajado's team so we can get a picture of them. And when I was looking at the roster sheet earlier, I noticed that Relajado is teaming up with Gohan, who they played together like a number of different times, notably during Omega CL. I don't know if you even remember that at this point, Chief.
We casted their grand final like a million years ago at this point. Right.
It's like out in 2020, more than a year in the past now. But Relajado and Gohan are back together again for more shenanigans. So that's that. And they have a couple of new faces. I think Gohan is playing on the entry with Psych. I feel like maybe I've heard of Psych somewhere. Not sure if he's another one of those ranked gunners, which it feels to me like this Coastal team, which is Relajado's squad, if you were confused about that, don't really have a very clear playstyle that they want to use yet. They have... Not only I mentioned they played in the AGN LAN, they also play in AGN's like online tournament, and they play in the Night League, which, Chief, I'm not sure if you've heard of the Night League. I doubt anyone else in chat has heard of the Night League. The only reason I know about it is because I play in it sometimes with some friends.
Oh, then it must be free if you're playing in it.
Yeah, and Coastal are like 3-1, and we actually did play them. We lost to them. It was very sad, and they got pretty rowdy in chat.
I'm sure you got 7-0
after the result. We got like 7-3'd, and they had a player gone the whole map. So
you went 7-10.
Kind of 7-10.
7-10. I was gonna go 0-10.
I wasn't playing in this match in particular.
I'm just saying.
Our team did not put up a great fight. Let's say that it was a bit of a smoke show.
You know what? I'll confess. I actually played Coastal and ranked the other day, and I also got my pack smoked. I think it was 4-2, and I didn't perform as well as I should have. I think I went like 4-6 or something, and Relajado just smoked my pack every single round. He's the only person that was in the lobby, it seemed, because he was just everywhere that I was. I couldn't roam, I couldn't entry, and the reason I'm bringing that up, not because Chief Cast sucks at Rainbow Six Siege, but it's because we saw a little bit of Coastal zoning and troning during that round, or that ranked match. Again, ranked, it doesn't mean anything, but if they can apply themselves like they did in a mid-gold or mid-plat elo, then of course they can be able to apply themselves to something a little bit more serious.
Well, as far as my expectations go, we've got one team with players who have been playing together, at least a three-fist core, for about 6 months now, and then we've got Relajado's squad with Gohan and Relajado himself, who've been on, and then they've been off, and I don't have particularly any too in-depth thoughts about this game. It's just week one, which I think is probably the reason why we've got Oregon as well. You want to play a map that you've scrimmed and you've put in a lot of the practice work on, because if you start off the season 0-1, historically in UPL, it just doesn't go your way. You look back at a lot of the seasons, as soon as you get to like week 3 or 4, the standings are almost already decided. You've got that middle pack, which is tied up. Everyone is just... I don't know. It's hard to get a leg up if you lose that first game. It can be a bit of a tilter. We're in the best-of-1 format as well, so there's that to keep in mind. And I hope that the best-of-1 gives us, a more, I don't know if you would say frantic game, but, I want to see some drive to win at least.
Maybe we go to best of 3s and make these guys suffer the entire way through. I mean, best of 3s do allow for more unique map rotation because you're going to have at least 3 maps being played. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a technical issue going on the back. We have 9 players in the lobby, but the 10th cannot join. I have been hitting S on my keyboard. I know Reese has been hitting S on the keyboard too, but us casters, we've tried our best to start the game, but we're just not allowed to until we have all 10. Well, technically, we do have 10 in the lobby. Oh, he just got in. my S spamming has actually worked. So I think we're just like 10 seconds away from entering into the server.
Way to go, Chief. You managed to make it happen. And we will not have to go to a break, which is very good because I want the game to begin as quickly as possible. One of the admins said it was almost a time penalty. Yeah, so thank you, Chief. You were helping the team avoiding. You're right. It's almost 4:15 for me, at least.
Yep.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's get into the game. Let's see what's to come here on Clubhouse. Oh boy.
Took us a while, Reese, but we're finally underway. Borrigan starting things off now. Is it going to be a boring ban wave, or are we going to see something a little bit more spicy? Thatcher will be banned. You don't need me to tell you that. There he goes. But is it going to be a hard breacher, or is it going to be a Flores? It's just depending on how rosters want to play. I actually really enjoy Flores being allowed through the ban wave because they're instrumental in breaking down bomb sites. But it's Flores, the Joker card. Sadly, their Joker arc continues on the Oregon fans. Possibly. That's probably what I would lean towards. Oh, it's a Maestro! Okay. I asked for a fun ban wave. And you know what? I get 3 pretty standard bans, and then the Maestro ban really makes things spicy like a good curry. Why is Maestro a spicy ban? It's because, A, they're not banned all that often, and we actually don't see Maestro cameras deployed throughout the map. But again, when you have hard utility, which means you have to commit an explosive device to it, well, that just means an extra thing that the offense needs to do. With a Flores in play, removing those Maestro cameras become a little bit more tedious. But when your offensive lineup looks like 2 sets of nades and one of those nade wielders, Finka, has a Gon 6, in theory, you're going to have a lot of utility to be able to remove those Maestro cameras. Plus, once you incorporate Ashe to the mix, the offense has more than enough utility. It might just come down to when you're going into an execute, you don't have a lot of utility left. You're more focused on taking those kills, so you just don't want to be dealing with a red ping the entire time when you're trying to plant. Super tuna around. It's a super tuna that's around. Like, you know, like you hop into the Pacific Ocean, since we're both on the West Coast, and there's a tuna that's super, and it's around you. Oh yeah, dude, that's where I live. The oil spill is literally where I live, so
right.
So the oil spill was off the coast of Huntington Beach here, and then it went down to I guess it's now in San Diego right now, but it was off one of the oil derricks here. I can't remember the name of it, but you can see from right outside PCH. And apparently there's a ton of ships stuck in the port of LA, and they dropped their anchor, and bad things have happened. So F and chat for the coastal area.
Looks like a horizontal take so far from the small tower side. You do have a Finka in here as well, a bit of extra frag grenades to add to your composition. Nurox with a nice little angle here. You see this every once in a while. Player will travel beneath, and Nurox with a very early smoke babe. However, I think somebody shot it, or maybe it fell through the earth. I'm not too certain what happened to that. I didn't hear any gunshots when it got broken, but sure didn't detonate. Syke with the opening kill there against Teknith. Coastal have got a lot of map control right now. The Nitro will blow Gohan sky high. He was not able to shut that down, even with the fast fire rate of the F2. It's just a bit off target. Now you've got a defender holding close at the door. The nade being cooked, and the smoke player, fortunately, just does not hear that pin get pulled.
great play from Coastal, and those nade barrage is going to continue on forward. Bacon is the only one close to that area, still diving around trying to attempt to deny that white stairs, and those nades are just so terrifying for Coastal. A great attempt from Vexy, but won't be able to land that shot. And Psych, why are you taking that gunfight? You need to have better coordination. That's the problem right now for Coastal. They're not really playing together. Now, if Rowdy was in this position, you would have been able to shut down Bacon sooner without losing any of your attackers. With that being said, it's now Aura, just with one troop left, stuck over in Kid's dorm. Another great crossfire. At least Coastal starting to rectify that, but the diffuser's going down.
However, the Hibana will bail off, and Zakuta is, well, quite prepared to move forward, eliminating the Wamai, and I think that's the right call there for the Japanese operator to get off of the case plant, knowing that if the Maverick dies and you lose that coverage, it could become very awkward for Coastal. So despite a couple of issues with that coordination, and I think it was them just trying to kind of reach up to that top rung of the ladder to get over and start the execute, they encountered a few issues. At the top of the white stairs there, it can be a bit troublesome because it's such a small area. We already saw the results of that claustrophobic sort of zone when the nitro launches through, and then the frag grenade goes back from the offense, so explosive kills on either side. Coastal, however, able to persevere there in the end, or are going to hit the repeat. And if I could suggest one thing to them, it might be maybe a Melusi on the white stairs. Other than that, perhaps like a Mozzie that starts off on an early roam in the showers hallway. You just want to be able to shoot a few drones. You saw how quickly Coastal took that map control.
And I like the way we saw the defense attempt to set up their hold through those vertical angles, but they never accomplished anything other than a down and a loss of a toxic gas grenade. But since Coastal is bringing the Finka, those downs are kind of meaningless unless you're able to instantaneously capitalize. So you mentioned that the roam from Mozzie, why not commit to a strategy where you have one deployable shield or one reinforcement in the kitchen, Reese, and you have the defense play below. So that way the attackers won't be able to have that strong execute. It accomplishes the goal that you wanted, making sure that the offense can't push in from the west, but it also absorbs more time, forcing those attackers to directly deal with downstairs. And you can have plenty of murder holes looking into meeting room, looking into security. Just that way you can at least do something active in that round, because if you're playing vertical angles, that's not an active defense. Bacon, on the other hand, creating an active defense, finding the opening kill in Relajado.
It is a little bit unusual to see Relajado play on the Ashe, but from what I've been told, he's not so much on a support role anymore. He's actually stepping more towards the flank, and because of the changes to Ashe, the R4C is no longer just considered this fearsome weapon. She kind of can slot into almost like a sledge role. Like I think that's the closest way that I would describe the position that Ashe is at in the meta right now. Relajado, things don't go well for him, taken out there by Vexy, and Alzomo will pop up with a TCSG to collect the third kill for Aura, as Coastal have yet to get much done other than success at the hard breaching so far. Bacon is in a rough position. The Hibana might be able to work a kill back here, make it 2-4, but nope. Now Bacon hits the adjustment. They've got a Z-ping as well. They sure know the Hibana is around the other side, but it's a bit of an awkward gunfight to clear her out of there.
Toxic gas grenades being committed, and Danny Nibs allowed to rotate away for free. Too much utility and not enough dividends, but Aura is in the lead by +2 man advantage, so they just really need to play time at this point. Toxic gas grenades, only one now remaining. Almanzo is going to fall, but that's just a nitro cell. Again, you have that man advantage. Your whole goal in this scenario is to set passively. Play behind the 3 deployable shields, use those reinforcements as anchor positions, and just not peek, because Coastal Gaming has to make a play, and it's going to be a big play. Wow. And that's just not it, Bacon. That's the exact opposite of what we needed. Now Coastal taking this from almost unwinnable to a little bit more obtainable. If they are able to find one more kill, it's going to go in their direction, or at least better in their direction. Now, no flashbangs and no nades. That's going to be a hindrance to the offense, but at least they're starting to do something. It's a flank to tail with the white stairs, and there's somebody there.
Sakuta's got a target in mind, but as he peeks the corner, Teknith must have heard that shuffling around the bottom of the stairs. Nibs will try to step to the interior of the objective, spots out the Aruni, who pulls the pistol, moves through the rotate, and takes him down to earn the response victory up there on the Dorm's objective. And, you know, the offense, it's a good try, but the Maverick, maybe he probably should have just worked with his teammate instead of trying to get to the staircase, you know. Fortunately, she just sort of heard him first, Chief.
What I find strange is Coastal, in round number 1, they have a methodical roam where they're gathering information. And then in Coastal round 2, they're just like, oh, there's a bomb site. It's upstairs in dorms. Mine, 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 mine. And they just literally sprint to the bomb site. They sprint to master. And there's roamers in play. They face check. No information. I mean, how do you go from one round where you're methodical to the next round where you're just playing completely differently? And I don't know if that's just a mindset shift for having a dominant round number 1. I don't know if that's an IGL call trying to change up the style of play. It's just something that cannot be allowed to happen. Always basics first, Reese. If you deviate away from that, you're either going to be playing dumb or making mistakes, and sometimes they go hand in hand. I have to say, I really like Lord Tachanka on this bomb site because you're allowed to drop the Shamika launcher firebolts in a lot of positions, in a lot of places that the smoke cast grenade just won't propagate into. And I also like that we're seeing the TCSG. Nobody wants to run the TCSG. Now, I know the Vector has a nice new anime skin. I know the Vector is actually a submachine gun and not a slug shotgun DMR hybrid weapon, and some players are just uncomfortable with it. But the TCSG is great for remodeling the map, and it's a solid gun all around.
Coastal appearing to travel in a similar direction to the push that they began with in round number 1, where they clear out from the west side, excuse me, looking for some of the roamers from Aura. They've got a Jaeger waiting at the top of the freezer stairs, distracted with shooting drones. Unfortunately, I don't know why he would repeat that. Bacon, you got away with your life, but he's just like, nah, I'm gonna challenge it again, even though the Finka has got the high ground now. 1 kill off the back of the clear, and I think a response that I would make to one of the points that you said, the first round, I don't know if I see it as so much dominant by Coastal, but it definitely does have the signs of, you know, a good foundation with the way that they began the clear. Maybe the second round, they just weren't as vocal about that, and Aura playing very aggressive right on the boundary of the objective.
Now, Aura's round 2 victory was because of aggression, so I understand why they're attempting to use it here in round 3, but it's now cost them 2 of their players and almost a third that's below 50 HP. That's going to directly hinder the way the defense plays. A DBNO not helping Aura's cause at all. You have 1 Nitrocell, and you have 14 Shamika launcher canisters, but they don't matter when everybody is removed. A flawless round for Coastal Gaming on the offense, and they just ate up that round as a defender just constantly dry-peaked.
Yeah, that was a lot of challenges that Aura I don't think could really back up, and maybe if they turtled up on the objective, things probably went a little better, but you look at round 2, and the reason they won, right, is because they were taking those dry peaks. They were being a little bit more hard to pin down, and then you compare that to round 3. They try, you know, a similar way of playing the defense. However, I think on the basement, it's a little bit easier for the attackers to predict kind of the areas where you're going to see the defense be very aggressive. A lot of times those freezer stairs, it's a huge checkpoint for the attackers to accomplish. So as a defender, if you can shoot drones or if you can, you know, take out a player, that gives you a lot of extra time that the attackers have to burn, and Coastal really just powered through that. There was nothing that Aura could really put in their way, and so a flawless round. That's simply on the fault of Aura maybe not thinking through the way that they wanted to play that defense enough.
Of course, I always love sniping drones on stairwells. I probably say that a bajillion times whenever I cast, but if you're going to be playing hyper-aggressive sniping drone strat, that's not the play. drones denial is to remove information, not to
Right.
remove attackers. So if you want to go for an aggressive play, we do see teams every so often go with a meeting room roam where you have deployable shields, you have reinforcements and rotations back to the bomb site. That style of play is designed to be aggressive because you as a defender have to stand your ground, because if you fall off when you immediately get pressured, you're going to waste, what, 20 seconds at most? That's just not enough on that style of play. But if you waste 20 seconds on a drone snipe meta, well, you can fall back and then waste another 20 seconds. So teams just need to be more aware of what they're trying to do with their strategy. Are they trying to waste time? They're trying to waste drones? Because we see teams far too often in amateur commit to a play that is accomplishing neither one of your goals. That's a brilliant example. Why are you in Zulu? What are you doing there? You're sprinting into the basement, and that doesn't help the defense.
Yeah, I'll say I think it's a little bit more nuanced. With the defense, sometimes it comes down to decision making and discipline. With a situation like that, not only the basement rounds, but Teknith getting caught out on the white stairs in round number 1 when it was Dorm City was defending. Generally, you're thinking about shooting drones, and the thought creeps in, like, maybe I don't just want to shoot drones. Maybe I want to get a kill here as well. But I will agree with the sentiment that you do need to be pretty cognizant about what your goal is, and a lot of teams lack that in Rainbow Six, just from my experience and what I've seen.
To be fair, that is an extremely advanced concept, and that's what I expect from Challenger League and Pro League teams, where you have the option, you've been scrimming tons, you've been dry running a lot, and that provides this synergization between the team, not only in the communication department, but as well as in what your goals are. And we see this in corporate finance all the time. There's the concept that's identical to this. If you have everybody on the same page, you actually understand the mission statements of your team, and everybody starts to apply themselves better because they know what they want from their goals. And Coastal is doing something very similar to that. Their goal is to have a multi-pronged assault, and they're just applying pressure. And Aurora has nothing. They're just falling one by one. Lord Tachanka and LMG, but he's being shot from 4 angles.
Another pretty swift closeout there, and the defense just lacking a bit of crossfires, I think. That's a little bit, that round, I think the loss is a bit deeper. I can't talk today. Deeper than the fact that you've lost Teknith on the opening death, which does affect that in some regards, right? You don't have the same manpower as you would in a 5-up scenario, so you can't play as many crossfires. And the freezer area is all about crossfires. Chief, was there a deployable shield at Highway? I honestly didn't see it.
There was one in J Bunker, if that's what you mean by Highway.
No, I'm talking about...
What?
Highway is it's that corridor between the 2 double doors, right between laundry. It's that hallway that leads you all the way down to Pillar.
Funny, I call Highway the external windows over by Armory and T2.
That's another highway on the map.
You can't have a highway in 2 different spots. That's horrible. You can't be calling 2 different
one's
things.
in the basement, and it's like a specifically defender area, and the other is... People have called that highway for a long time. I think it's mostly like an EU call out, but I do know the highway call out. I think the one that you're referring to was actually made when there used to be that window that fed into kind of the generator room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always just called that basement hallway. I guess you could call it the storage hall, but highway just seems like a more simple call out. To me.
Well, that's fair, but you just can't have... This is why Kickstarter needs to finish his
community call-outs program.
Yeah, call-outs. Because it's just bad discipline to have 2 different call-outs on the same map. Now, if you're a comp team, it really doesn't matter what you have for a call-out. Like, you can call green room, red room, and as long as the entire team knows, it really doesn't matter. And that's the thing with call-outs. If everybody's on the same wavelength, you can literally call it something that it's not. And if people know what you mean, that's the important thing, right? Like, there are so many call-outs. Look at the multiple names of Pixel on Cafe. I can't say them on broadcast, but everybody knows what they are. You could say all the iterations, and people are going to know. That's call-outs are just designed to, again, have synergization between the team. I guess we're using a lot of advanced concepts in business here and making teams more efficient.
Well, anyways, we're here on this tertiary defense. Now Aura have had, well, a bit of difficulty with their site rotation, that basement site. They're not able to lock it out. And look at Relajado as he walks down the green hallway and discovers that the kitchen is mostly absent of defenders. Will hit the pre-fire against Vexy. Spots another one. Back inside a meeting, and the Aura defense not looking too hot. Relajado finally taken out. Nibs is getting the case down as Psych will be able to stop the defenders from retaking back into the kitchen. With the case on the ground, it's almost sure that this is going to be a 4th round win for Coastal, and Sakuda, despite having, I think, a disadvantage in that gunfight, still able to hit the counter swing and beat out the Mozzie, who, you know, you'd think has a better weapon for such a close range fight.
And when you have vertical pressure from above, the design is to simplify the defense. Your whole goal is to not deny insertion points, whether or not it's from the green door, where we see Relajado just push on forward fearlessly, and Bacon was above. Bacon was literally watching the angles and allowed that to happen. Now, to be fair, Bacon does get the refrag, but after 2 of his comrades had already were felled. That's just not a good setup. And we see the defense playing so passively today, where they're just almost scared of the LMG. And look at the success that we've seen from the defense. Round 2 Storms was won because of aggression. And we haven't really seen aggression other than in round 3. Everything after that has been the defense playing scared.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of mixed signals from this game. Round 3, I think, was the most aggressive. There seems to just kind of be maybe a bit of a disconnect between the way that Aura wants to play this on the defense. Like, you've got some players like Teknith who's getting very aggressive, but I don't think it's really fulfilling the responsibilities of an entry player as much as you would want him to be. Maybe he needs to think about more, you know, his job as an entry player. A lot of times, more so on the attack, you want to get map control. So when you're that defender, it's your job to stop the attackers from getting the map control. However, you also need to think about kind of the way that it checks out. You know, is it going to be the smartest decision to stop the attackers when there's 5 of them running at you and you just don't have enough ammunition? There's a drone on top of you. Like, you have to be able to kind of make that decision very actively on what is going to be worth it in the big picture.
Well, no roam downstairs. That could be costly. And actually, we do see some roamers. They just went over by a split near meeting room. The problem with that style of play is, do you have a safety net? Are you able to return back to your bomb site? I mean, look at Bacon. If Bacon is droned, their chance of leaving garage is very low. One of the roamers... Oh, it's actually the site pressure is now falling.
Wow.
What on earth is taking place? Coastal's just at the bomb site. The roamers are forced to retreat back home, but home is now fully occupied. Another round where Coastal just says, screw you, roamers, I'm executing.
That was a pretty decisive first half. 5 attack wins for Coastal. This game is not getting off on a great foot. And this is not the way to begin the season for Aura, who I think maybe could have done a little bit more discussing of the game plan heading to Oregon here on this map. And to be honest, it is a little bit of Coastal outgunning Aura right now, because the defense don't have... They aren't, you know, terribly interlocked too well, and that causes issues. And the thing that I have to say as a criticism of them is that's not the first time that Coastal have rushed the site, Chief. They've done it like... They did it on the tertiary defense when it was the kitchen that they rushed. They kind of rushed on the basement. They were just being very quick, and it looks like Coastal are kind of having a bit of a lull in this game right now. They are just... this is Coastal having a bit of fun, and Aura... I don't know, not being really up to the task.
So one of the problems that we're going to be seeing, we never actually had a full qualifier, and qualifiers are a vetting system. They weed out the weak. So we just don't know what we're getting from rosters. And also, it's been 2 or 3 weeks since the teams were signed to the league. Have we seen Aura do their homework? Are they scrimming? Are they dry running? Do they know anything about Coastal? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you can go down 5-1, not just the offense kind of being better. Oof, that's not comfortable at all. Gohan, well, he's a very kind individual and has gifted an Amazon package of an explosive C4 device. And once again, the problems of the offense are just going to continue to compound. They are struggling at everything that they do, and that's a frustrating thing to say.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating to watch as well when Coastal do some of these things that just totally exploit the faults that Aura have shown. You've got the Ashe entry looking for control of Trophy. Got a bit of support from her teammate as well. Gohan still playing from below. The Exothermic will be successful. Nibs just got a Nitro. It's a great toss. Perfectly on target there against the Thermite. Now your Heart Breacher gun. And look at the shotgun. One pump against Bacon. And now you've lost the Ashe. And it looks like Coastal are about to just cruise onto match point. I mean, this is like an easy game for them.
You know what optic is great on the M870?
Let's not get into this right now.
That's a red dot, man.
A red dot?
What else would I be getting into?
Can you even have a red dot on that gun?
Of course you can. You can
Isn't
put a
there
red
like
dot
some kind of fine you have to pay if you do that?
Are you anti-red dot?
On a
That's
shotgun?
the best optic. Well,
Look, if you're not running
optic do you
iron
run on the
sights-
shotgun, actually?
Iron
you
sights.
actually? To be fair, iron sights aren't bad. Honestly,
Depends
I
on the
like to
gun.
run red dot because it's a nice shape and it's cylindrical and it looks interesting. Unfortunately,
Imagine the Russian reflex on a shotgun. Now that would be...
oh, that would slap.
It would slap. Because it would be so, like, the sight picture is very open. And, okay, it's it's the handgun qualification day for Alzomo. 2 picks. Smoke and Goyo. Psych will spot him and make sure that the handgun gets holstered and is not responsible for a 3rd kill. That'll be match point here for Coastal, as they are having a pretty easy game so far.
That was a lackluster attack. A lot left on the table.
That was not
No
a lot of talked
information,
about.
really.
That was just...
Yeah. I mean, the thing was, it was Nitrocell Bonanza, and it was the offense just not really droning and doing their homework. It was a frustrating round to see, because it is not the first time that we've seen basics be forgotten in this series. And it's week 1. It's early on, so if you're going to be making your mistakes, make it now. And come back, watch the VOD, and just realize the lapse of coverage and information and strategy. And that's all we can really hope for. Because, again, it is week 1. Make your mistake now, move on, and better yourself.
Well, I wish we could say that there was going to be more to this game. Coastal have been superior in a lot of different aspects. We've talked about Aura being a little bit disjointed in the way that they've kind of had team play, sometimes a little bit too aggressive. I think they could maybe address a few issues with the drone economy. Is there anything else that I'm missing here, Chief? Anything that you would, say to Aura? Maybe we could... What is Nibs doing? He's running out. Oh, here we go. Nitro. Nope. No dice. Anyway, now that that sideshow is completed, can you, can we get back to the conversation? What do you think is going wrong here for Aura?
My guess it's my guess it's something to do with the communication and what is being said. It's one of the hardest things to see when you don't have comms. I was working with a Val T2 team over the weekend as working with their communication, and my whole goal there was to create lines of dialogue between players to ask for help. That's all I was doing. And I'm not a Val expert by any means, but you can see a basic strategy, right? If you're Bacon here, what does Bacon need to do? He needs a drone, but he's droning himself. Bacon needs to say, hey guys, my objective right now is to push pillars. I cannot do it alone. There's a deployable shield, there's somebody in pillars, and I need help. Then Bacon needs to say, this is what we're doing, or this is how you help me. It's going to be setting up a crossfire, burning the ADSs, removing that deployable shield, removing the players from those positions. That's the dialogue that needs to be created. And the way that we're seeing the offense currently play, I have a suspicion that that dialogue isn't being made.
Minute and 30, and it doesn't look like Aura have really accomplished a whole lot. A team flash over by Construction. Psych is waiting for his moment to shine with the 1.5. 12 and 2. That's a 6 KD. The lifeline. Was that the concussion sent through, or was that a lifeline grenade that missed? I hope it's the former. Teknith able to get the opening pick. One of the few times that that's actually gone to the favor of Aura so far this game. Just for another one of those statistics that you might be tracking to look back on. Vexy, more of the lifeline. Concussion sent overhead. Now you've got some burn, a drop into E-Box. Like able to pick the first one off. Gotta be careful. This could get real complicated very quickly. And here we go for Coastal. Everybody drops. All of the Aura attackers are dead, and it's left up to Teknith. Psych will swing him, and Coastal Gaming take their first match of the season in a 7-1 result without much opposition on the other side of the field.
A great result for Coastal Gaming. Putting them in a 7-1. Round differential will be meaningful when it comes to standings.
Yeah.
Very frequently in UPL seasons, do we have 3 or 4 teams with the exact same record, and one of them or 2 of them goes home because they had a bad round differential? It is head-to-head and round differential in that order what seeds you for postseason. So if you have beaten a team, you'll beat them in the standings. But if you guys, have different head-to-heads where it might not actually add up, round differential does become very important. So 7-1 is a nice banker. It will be paying dividends in the future for Coastal.
This game kind of reminds me of a match that we had. It was around the time that I got started here at Unified. There used to be this rule where if you were late to the match, you would forfeit the first round of each half. And so already you're at 0-2 in this game. And I think the result was we had 5 rounds played, and it was just 5 rounds in a row. The team that did not have that scheduling plague or scheduling rule applied to them won. And I just thought of that because of the speed of this game. That match, I think, is probably still my record for shortest actual legit broadcast that I've ever had. This one was pretty quick as well. But definitely a lot to look back on here for Aura. It's hard to watch them have such a struggling match here on their debut for week number 1. But with every tough loss comes lessons to learn. And I think there's going to be plenty to go back on in this VOD. And I hope that they go back on the VOD. Not all teams do that. Not all teams even scrim, frankly. But if you're watching this back over, good luck in week 2, guys, because I think you could really make some improvements off of this match and maybe stand a chance to have a longer game. To Coastal Gaming, ranked Gunny today. A lot of kills, and it's a shame we didn't get to see what Relajado was ready to bring on his defensive playbook because there were only 2 defense rounds played. That's all from us here at Unified Premier tonight. Just this very short first game. We'll have more Rainbow Six coming to your screens tomorrow, so make sure that you tune in. Same time, 7 o'clock Eastern. Follow us on all the relevant social media channels. We've got Unified Premier on Twitter, where you can find out about match day announcements, and we've also got some fun content hopefully coming soon. We're going to be developing some highlight YouTube content throughout this season. Hopefully that'll provide you an opportunity to kind of get a summing up of what each play week is like. I've been Sticula, my co-caster Chief, our observer Tango Mango Down, and our producer Hypertension. Until next time, you've been watching Unified Premier League Week 1.
Olipop is delicious. 7 different flavors to choose from. Usually when someone says it's good for you, the big question is what does it taste like? Well, the ginger lemon tastes like ginger ale with lemonade added to it. Olipop. The strawberry vanilla tastes like strawberry shortcake in a can. It's like dessert for after dinner, during dinner. Olipop. Don't just take my word for it. Head over to drinkolipop.com and pick out your favorite